What's up everyone, Vu of NVU Films, and I am back with another idiotic video for you to watch. And today I'm going to talk about why the Sony a7S III and the FX3 type size cameras is still my go-to type of camera. Why did I decide to do this video today? Well, I actually just came back from a client shoot, and shocker of the century, I do other stuff other than YouTube. I have clients, I do weddings, and I do commercial work. And for those of you who think that all I do is YouTube and I'm just a piece of trash, well, shocker, I work. If I were to only rely on YouTube for my income and my monetary needs, I will be on the streets begging for money, like most of you who complain that the Sony a7S III and the FX3 is too expensive on Facebook forums. How you get on Facebook with no money and no mobile device, I have no idea, but that is that. The fact of the matter is, I have this Sony a7S III and this Sony a7S III that I'm filming with right now. The reason why I don't have the FX3 is because I bought these two cameras right when they're released, and I'm not going to sell one of these just to get FX3 or buy another FX3 when I don't need it. And the Sony a7S III does everything I need. So that is that. I beat the crap out of these cameras. Okay, I film everything. From, like I said, from weddings, from commercials to YouTube videos. I beat these cameras up more than an Asian kid gets beat up for having an A- on his report card. With that being said, let's get to the topic at hand before this video goes off the rails. So today in this client shoot, I was shooting a restaurant. It is a hybrid between fast food and just, sit down restaurant, right? And I had to go back into the kitchen area to film the workers, the cooks, the cashier, people who were prepping the food. I had to go back there and film the whole process. I had an hour to film what goes on during lunch hour. Them cooking. There's a Peruvian chicken place, fire, flame, hot back there, customer service, all that stuff. I had to capture within this small window with 1 hour to get all these B-rolls to somehow create multiple different videos for their social media. I had my backpack on, all of my gear in it, and I realized I didn't have enough space to even move around, so I had to find a spot to put the backpack. There was absolutely no space to really, even using a gimbal would have been an issue. So I was so thankful that I was using the a7S III with active stabilization on, so I was able to get some walking and moving shots. But these employees, they were having to walk back and forth, walk past me. And I was just like, I cannot imagine if I was using, let's say, an FX9 or like a rigged out FX6, or even like a rigged out pocket cinema camera where you have to get these things rigged up to use properly. And pretty much all I had was a Sony a7S III with a small shotgun mic and just the tilt cage. I mean, it looked not much bigger than this. I was using the Sigma 65 f2 lens, and I mean, that lens is small, so I had this small setup, and I was able to get all these shots. I was able to like go up and get shots of like them cooking on the wok like this, like higher angle, and pretty much for the most part stay out of people's way. They just kind of walk right by me. I was using this very small footprint of this camera. Like if I had like a larger setup, if I had to use like other rigs, if I had to use gimbals, like that would have been overkill for this shoot, especially the amount of shots I had to get within the small time frame of like the rush of a lunch hour at like a very busy restaurant. And then of course you're gonna be like, well, these are probably like smaller paying clients. These are smaller budgets. Those are what these douchebag cameras are made for. You need to, if you want to be real legit, you need FX6, FX9, or Red, or what have you. You know what? The budget is pretty much the same. It's just the timing. Like these clients are still paying $250, $300 an hour, just like any other bigger client would. But the fact of the matter is, let's say they did have, like these clients did have a small budget, and they needed to get like this quick shoot done. They didn't necessarily need to have this huge production, 10 hours, 20 hours worth of filming. They just need an hour. What these cameras allow you to do is you're still pretty much making the same money for the time spent. So you could potentially do a lot of these smaller jobs, as in like taking less time, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 hours of your time, and then you could do multiple of these smaller jobs and still spend the same amount of overall time as, and gets paid pretty much the same as you just doing one bigger project that is like maybe a 24-hour, 40-hour shoot just for just one project, and you pretty much get paid the same as you would working 40 hours on multiple smaller ones. So essentially, you're still getting paid the same for your time. You could churn out and complete smaller projects and pretty much get to pay the same as, working on a bigger project, if that makes any sense. So it's not like these clients are paying less or their budgets aren't as big. They're just doing smaller projects and it takes less time. And this helps you land more clients, but also help you be more productive and at the same time just be able to do more projects, do different stuff. You don't always have to, it's great to land those big one project, $10,000, $20,000 contract, and you're working on it for like a month or whatever, 2 months. But at the same time, man, if you could get smaller ones and pretty much invest the same amount of time to complete them and pretty much get paid the same amount of money, why not? These cameras, these FX3s, Sony a7S3s, they allow you to do these faster productions because you could just roll in with the camera and a lens and get all the shots you need and you're done, versus these bigger productions. You need to like rig out everything. Like essentially you just need to get the right camera for you to do the job. And in my opinion, Sony a7S3 and FX3s, these smaller cameras can pretty much do any job these other more expensive $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 cameras can do. But at the same time, these can get into places and do these smaller type clients that would, these other bigger $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 cameras would be very cumbersome to use to shoot with for these more run and gun, smaller, tighter space type of shoots. And one could argue, well, you can't walk into a big corporation with your small Sony a7S3 FX3 and expect them to take you seriously. Okay, I get it, but hey, you could easily just rig the crap out of this camera, like just cage it out, make it look like crazy, put a big old monitor in it, and they cannot even tell the difference between what you're shooting with. And one could argue, well, some companies do know and they want red or whatever, and then you can just go rent it, right? But these types of cameras are just great to own because they're inexpensive. They're $3,500 to $4,000, and this is a camera that you could have two of or something, keep in your backpack at all times. Clients can call you, hey man, you think you can come help me shoot this? And it's like, yeah, sure, man, no problem. $250 an hour, I'll be there. Bam, you got it. You're ready to go. You're ready to roll. And of course, those bigger projects, you go and rent your FX9, FX6, and charge the client for those camera rentals. No big deal. That's why if I were to say, hey, what camera should you buy as a content creator, as a videographer? And I'll always tell you 100% of the time, always have something like a Sony a7S3 or FX3 in your kit that you own, that's in your backpack, that is with you everywhere you go, because then you could shoot high quality cinema level work anytime, anywhere, any place, whenever you feel like. You got charged batteries in your backpack, you're ready to go. And the bigger clients, you could always rent a Red, rent an FX9, FX6, even a Sony Alpha 1 if they need 8K. You can just rent it, and again, charge your client for the rental. It costs what, $100, $200 to rent one of these cameras, maybe more, $300. You charge your client, you invoice them $300 for FX9, and they'll pay for it because that's what they want you to roll in with. Now these other clients, because you have this, you could charge them for this too. You could charge them for your camera, renting your camera for an hour, and you're using it. They don't know where you got it. So there's a lot of things you could do to be a better businessman and, get more clients and get more work to obviously pay your bills. You can't sit here and always expect to, go out there and be able to shoot a movie, because the reality of most of us are just shooting, for lack of a better word, small time stuff, documentaries, commercials, whatever gets the bills paid. But at the same time, you're building experience and you're getting better and better as a shooter every time you go out and do these things. So with that said, hope you gained something out of this. It's just some of my thoughts I just want to get out. Like, I was literally shooting for this client today, and I was just like, man, like, I really cannot imagine if I had an FX9 or FX6 in a space like this, and having to like shoot run and gun so quickly like this in this type of environment. And I was like, dang, like the Sony a7S3 FX3 is just the perfect camera for like these kinds of situations. And you know, again, it was also pretty not the best lighting situation, so like the low light performance was great. And yeah, I mean, it's just something thought about and something I want to share with you guys, and maybe it'll help you make a purchase decision on whether or not you want to go ahead and, you know, shell out big money for like the big rig cinema cameras, or should you go for one of these hybrid cameras and this hybrid Sony a7S III FX3 type cameras. And yeah, hopefully it helped. If you like this kind of content, please, you know, it'll help me so much if you just hit the like button, share this with one of your photographer, videographer friends, and subscribe. You know, it'll help me earn some more money off of YouTube. Instead, I'm here sleeping and living out of my car. I'm just kidding. I'm not sleeping out of my car. It's just a temporary situation where I do not have a studio to film out of. Currently in transition from moving from old house to new house. A lot of stuff going on. But hopefully you get to see my new studio soon. But with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye now.